Hey guys, oh yeah, I should probably remember to actually like turn on the camera in the stream. Hello, how's everyone doing? Oh, hope you're having a good day. Oh, design review. Hello to everybody in the chat. See you in 3 hours, guys. We've been waiting for 24 hours. Good afternoon, all. Hello, Paul. Welcome. Rebecca, hello. We meet again, gentle human beings from Mars. Oh, Dansky, fancy seeing you here. Quinton, hello. Greg, welcome back. Just here for a little while the amazing work people have been wait, let me read that again. Just here for a little while to see the amazing work people have been submitting. There we go. Slow down, Dan. You know you struggle with your words. Mr. Phelps, good to see you. Zach Johns, still not me. Hello. I know you said you missed the stream the other day, but you are here now. That's what counts. Sir Lallington, how do you keep such an infectious, positive vibe, my friend? I can't read that bit. There's a little heart icon in the way. Fab skills as always. Honestly, it's you guys. It's you guys. Like most of the time, it's kind of talking to a camera or just kind of working on my own, basically. And I love doing these streams, even though it's kind of, it's not face to face or anything, but it's just so nice that we've got like a real kind of tight knit little community that can get together every week. And it charges me up, as well as the caffeine. That probably plays a role as well. But I'm putting it mostly on you guys. Like, I absolutely love doing these streams. Even if I'm feeling a bit tired, it just lifts me up. And right, I'm actually looking for the the design in the thumbnail, because I can't do like a design review and not show what's in the bloomin' thumbnail. And I've lost it. Where's it gone? Hang on. Let's have a look. Come on, Dan. What have I actually done with it? Don't say I deleted the file. That would just be really embarrassing. Where are you? I know it's blue. It's definitely blue. Hang on. Let's do a good old search. We'll do a file search. There we go. I got you. I've got you. No, the file is in there. I'm just being an idiot. Oops. Okay, right. Let's grab all the files for today. Bear with me a second. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, this is going to be fun. I've got a little bit of a mixed bag today, actually. We've got some brand guidelines, style guide kind of thing. We've got a logo. Might be more than one logo. We've got some illustration, which is going to be pretty cool. Oh, yeah, we've definitely got more than one logo. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. We've got a men's underwear brand as well. Courtesy of none other than Dilshan. Sorry, Dilshan. Remember, I can't speak. Right. Let's get the stream folder. Zoop. Plonk it in there. Okay, fine. He's ready to go. Let's get down to work. Exactly. Dansky, you're a very good teacher. Thank you. Thank you very much. That means a lot. I do try my best. Review the thumbnail. Okay, right. First up. Ba-dum-ba-bum. Yeah, let's do this one first. Okay. This is by Dilshan, whose name I just completely butchered. Apologies. Right, we've got 2 JPEGs and a PDF. So let's start with the JPEGs. Sculpted comfort, and I think Oh, I see. Right. So one of them's kind of got that sort of torn brush style banner around the edge. And the other one doesn't, quite simply. I love this style with the lettering, big bold lettering, and it just, yeah, it's really cool. I've seen a few videos on this recently, actually. The way you can kind of create this solid and outlined version of the text. You can link the layers and then move it around. And depending on where you position the text, that effect will only show over the subject, if that makes sense. So you can actually have the flexibility to freely move the text, and you don't need to kind of rebuild and remask the effect every single time. So yeah, this is really cool. It's a very clever technique, actually, because it's still very easy to read. It's a big bold title, so you can still read it and you can still see the image. I mean, genius. Timeless style. I mean, yeah, that's what I look like in the morning. Not. Stone. I look like stone in the morning. I don't move, which is very, very apt. Anyway, we've got a logo here as well, which we're going to get to. I love the... Sorry to be crude. I love the little M in the bulge. It's just, I mean, it's a men's underwear brand, you know. We just, look, calm down. We're going to have to just get over this, all right? We're going to be looking at half-naked men. You know, it is what it is. Anyway, border or no border? I think personally I'd probably go with no border. Everything just feels very, very clean. And even the typography, it's kind of it's got like a linear quality to it. And I love this kind of flipping between the linear style and the kind of bold with a solid fill. Really, really cool. You know, I think it's a personal preference, but if I had a choice, I would go with just the one without the border, personally. But anyway, let's get to the meat and the potatoes. Right, let's blow this up. I'm terrible at navigating Acrobat. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm guessing this Movaro clothing logo is this kind of logo here is more of a document presentation. So that's why I presume the logo isn't actually here itself. And interesting, yeah. this is really interesting, right? So even on this first screen, my eye is drawn to the fact that the M and the O, they're both like peeking outside the box. Now, normally I would probably wag my finger and be like, Dilshan, you naughty sausage. We need a bit more breathing space. Can we just bring that inside the box? But the thing here is it feels intentional. Like the M and the O are both pushing outside that box equally. It doesn't feel like a mistake. Do I like it? I think... Do you know, I don't know, actually. I don't dislike it. And actually, I don't think it matters because it doesn't look like a mistake. Yeah, I mean, you could argue here with the word clothing. You could argue that the spacing there does feel a bit tight. I don't know why. That's standing out more to me than the Movaro. I mean, oftentimes you do get kind of that type of graphic design that is much more typography led, and you know, those designers do break the traditional norms, or they break the rules. Ugh, rules, dirty word. They break those rules and they just kind of turn text on its side and have it, you know, missing letters and interlocking and all this creative stuff. And, you know, no one really bats an eye. It's like, yeah, that's cool. It's just very kind of design led. You know, that's standing out to me, but I mean, you know, we're nitpicking there. It does exactly what it needs to do. And that's that. The only other thing I suppose you could add is you could add a drop shadow around the edge of the guy, just so it only appears on that dark blue box and not the kind of whatever delicious name you would come up with for this background color. It's not, no, it's not duck shell or duck egg or whatever it is. I think that's slightly different. But yeah, have the shadow just on the blue box could be kind of cool. Anyway, let's go down. Movaro. Movaro is a startup brand specializing in stylish men's innerwear. The company emerged from a dissatisfaction with uncomfortable and uninspiring underwear. Indeed. We all need comfy pants. Pants is like the English term for, like, I know my American friends, you probably call them pants are trousers. We call the things that go on the legs on the outside trousers. Pants are the things on the inside. That's my terrible explanation. I'm sticking to it. Anyway, Dilshan, quick question. Is this for a real client or is this kind of like a made up brief? Because I know you've done some amazing work in the past and it's turned out that it's actually fictional, which is not only completely insane, but you know, it's a great way to get practice and actually build a portfolio, even if you don't have any experience per se. But looking at this, I can tell you with absolute certainty that Dilshan does have experience. Either that or he's a design prodigy, because his work is not only varied, but just always incredibly detail oriented. So this is really cool as well. We've got that Movaro kind of on the side, kind of acting as a watermark. It's one of those things that you can just add to kind of as a little accent, just to make what would otherwise be a pretty plain page feel a little bit interesting. Very useful if you're doing things like business cards, or you're doing a print run where you can only use one color. So maybe it's a black and white print and you're like, well, black and white, that's great. You could do like a tint of a graphic or something, and it just makes it a bit more visually interesting. It's a clever and simple effect. Quentin says, that's a pretty cool design. I like the mix of styles. Rebecca says, I really like this. The link to submit the design files has disappeared. Yes, the link's only up for a week, or at least it's supposed to be. So there's like a week period where people can submit loads and loads of work. Do you like that, Kai? You like the sausage reference? Wasn't related to anything we're talking about, by the way. It's just I have a habit of calling people, including my family and my kids, sausages. I don't know why. Maybe I just love sausages. But yeah, anyway, what was I saying? So easily distracted. So anyway, yeah, so I kind of have a week where I take in loads of submissions, and then that will keep me busy for the next few weeks. So that underwear is feeling a bit tight. But I think it's going to be comfy, Greg. That's the thing. Getting into the meat and potatoes line. I'm not intentionally making these kind of references. This is just how I talk. Honest. Boxers is what I know them as. Yeah, that's a much better description. Okay. Right. Okay, so now we get down to the actual logo and the M with the bulge. Let's zoom in. Okay. Yeah, this is really interesting. So oh yes, there you are. I was going to say, Dilshan, are you there? Good. If you've only just joined, you missed the bit where I pronounced your name incorrectly. Excellent. Yes, you did tune in at the right time. Quentin says the space between the A and the V in the all caps version is quite wide. Ooh, okay. Let's go and have a look. Ah, yes, interesting. Good spot. Good spot. Yeah, that probably could be tightened up a little bit. But yeah, logo. So, how did you create this, Dilshan? Was this an existing font that you customized? I know that's something you've done in the past. Is this a straight kind of off the shelf font? Did you create this from scratch? What's the process here? The first thing that's standing out to me that I'm noticing, and this isn't a positive or a negative, just an observation, is that excuse me, some of the corners are rounded and some of them are not. And I'm trying to figure out if there's any particular rhyme or reason why some corners are rounded and some are squared off. You see on the V here? And some of the other letters, tops of the A, bottom squared off. And I'm trying to understand kind of, same with the M actually. There's these kind of, I think because the curves on the M are larger, it feels a bit more intentional. I don't know if these are just too subtle. Like the subtle rounding of the corners can sometimes make something feel less kind of, I don't know. Sometimes things that are just too sharp can feel very serious, very corporate. And sometimes you want something to just be a little bit more playful. Is that the right word? Just a bit less of everything else I just said, kind of corporate and serious, and just a bit more fun. And so even just adding rounded corners, even if it's very subtle to a typeface or a design, can just make it feel a bit more like that. Dan just talking about sausages and men in their ruse, unrelated. Dilshan trying to see a client or made up for fun. Seems the stroke weight is close here, but not uniform. Oh, for the letters. Oh, Kai, you have got a sharp eye, my friend. Yeah, so the blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so the thickest points on the lettering. Oh, it's pretty close. I think if I had to nitpick, I would say the widest part of the A here is probably a pixel, maybe larger than the M. Yeah. Oh no. Oh, I cannot use Acrobat. Acrobat drives me insane. Oh, just let me move around the PDF. Mike says, my guess is the A was missed and the other letters were modded to match the new M. The A was missed and the other letters were modded to match the new M. The custom M stroke feels chunkier and not matching the rest of the letters. Oh, that's interesting. So you're talking about the stroke around the M. That's really interesting because I thought when I zoomed in just then that the actual M was a bit thinner, at least in some of the thicker parts on the A. Of course, typographically, this part of the A and other letters, they do taper off to an extent so that, certain types of font look typographically correct. Yeah. That's a funny one. I'm kind of looking at it now and I'm second guessing myself because it's consistent with certain parts of the letters, like the V, that's pretty close to the thickness of the M. But then other parts of the letters, perhaps not so much. Oh, stop it. All right. Dilshan says, top of the letters are rounded. It felt too serious. Yeah. And I think that's a good shout. Yeah, I guess the only thing I'm looking at is like it doesn't feel like there's a consistency. I mean, I suppose there is, yeah. It's just the top of the letters that are round. But then I feel like the top of the V here, I think that's what kind of threw me. This part of the V on the inside, that wasn't rounded. So I think perhaps if that one was rounded off as well, I would understand it a bit more easier. Like the bottoms are all flat and the tops are all kind of slightly rounded. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, and this is just me kind of nitpicking my own personal. Oh, come on, Acrobat, move the thing. There we go. Right. So what I would probably do personally is I might cut. We're just going to call it the bulge. We're just going to have to move past it. It is the bulge. We're going to have to. We're going to have to. I would cut the bulge a little bit shorter so it doesn't go up so long. Hi. And this bit here, see this corner, they're squared off. This one's rounded, and then this one's squared off, and then both of these sides are rounded. And I got to be honest, it does feel like there isn't a definitive consistency to this part here. You know, we've got rounded bits, but then it all kind of goes pretty squared off. Yeah, so I think probably a little bit more consistency overall with how curves and straight lines are integrated. I think it's good to mix them up, and there's no harm in having curves in certain places and more squared off edges within the same design, but I feel like there just needs to be a bit more consistency, like a methodology to it. This one as well, just something to consider. If you didn't want to round it off like this, you could actually cut that like this and follow the curvature of the bulge. So just cut it off clean, which could look quite cool. And it could kind of tie this end point here into that curve. Remember what I said before about always trying to build relationships between different elements. And then, yeah, I guess with this one, if you were going to bring this a bit shorter, you could round it off to a cap. Or, I don't know, this might not work, but you could follow that angle there and just sort of cut straight through it. So you're building a relationship between this part of the design and just kind of lining up some angles. Yeah, I don't know. Like basically when I was recording a video yesterday, like the on-camera talking stuff, like my normal video style, and I was even lining up the mic stand with the angle of the laptop, and then the other part of the mic stand, I was lining it up with my desk. And I was just looking at it going, like, I think this now looks better because I've lined up the angles, the angle of this kind of two-piece microphone I'm using. You can't see it, but I'm using like a two-piece microphone. Those angles now match the laptop and the desk. And it just made me think of like all the times I'm sort of talking about building relationships between different design elements, particularly those that are close together. And I think it looked better in the video. So the video will probably be going up this week, so you'll see what I mean. But it's it's kind of like the same sort of thing. Just trying to look at different elements that are near each other. Oh no, Quinton, time to go. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Oh, we're going to have to do an earlier one just for you, Quinton, I think. We're going to have to move one of them. Okay, so Mike and so Kai agrees with what Mike said. Oh, interesting. Thickest parts are actually the same width as the M. I tried to get them as close as I can get. Yeah, so it could, I don't know, it could be the fact this is a PDF. And when I'm zooming in, there's a bit of pixelation. Inside corners are rounded. Okay. Yeah, I think, okay, so it does sound like there's a methodology to it and a thought process. But it wasn't one that was immediately apparent to me. So that would probably be, that's probably kind of where I would land on it. In that it's good that it's in there, but I didn't understand it at first, and I was looking for it as well. So I don't know, maybe something to consider there. You found the link to submit your work. Oh. if I left a link up somewhere. Go on then, you cheeky sausage. You found the link. You've done the legwork. I'll have to find that just so loads of submissions don't start sneaking through because I got loads to review. But if you've got some work, yeah, you go for it. You go for it, you cheeky sausage. Some great detective work there. Anyway, we've got loads to get through, so let's carry on. We've got the logo there, which overall I really do like. I think actually, I mean, you know, I jump in and start nitpicking the little details straight away. Actually, I think as a logo, this is great. I love the way that the M has been combined into a pair of boxers, briefs, pants, whatever you want to call them. We'll go with boxers, and it's just the bulge is just very clever. It's a really kind of subtle nod to, well, the male anatomy, and it looks like an M. It's actually, you know, it's a fantastic logo. I'm just kind of focusing, as I always do, on the very subtle things, the little details. Okay, so we've got a couple of different colorways. Yep, white on black looks great. Yeah, not crazy about this color here. I don't know if that's the chosen color. Yeah, not a massive fan of this treatment here, and I think off black, that sort of kind of like a bluish gray color does sort of struggle a little bit. It's not, maybe it's got not as much contrast as it could have. I think that gray here looks really kind of smart on the white. There's definitely a bit more contrast. Yeah, this is cool as well. We've got the letter M, and then we've got the kind of icon of the boxes, so you can really see where this has come from. And I think I've said before, I love these. You know, you've got thing plus thing equals, and then you've got the logo. So it's so nice to be able to see that process in a very quick and easy, simplified formula, like a math formula, but without all the boredom of mathematics. A fusion of the letter M and the boxer brief shape symbolizes Mavero's perfect blend of style and comfort in men's underwear. Yeah, that's fair, actually. Yeah, it does look very stylish. And I guess as well, you know, the curves in the logo can reinforce comfort. That's probably something specific to this particular project because it's about, you know, men's underwear. So having like very sharp, jaggedy edges, yes, might look more serious and corporate, but it also might subtly communicate that this underwear is not very comfortable. So adding those curves in any form is definitely a good shout. Typeface, pop-ins. Ooh, that's lovely. And a very nice typographical way of presenting that particular font. Lovely. Brand colors. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. So so these are the brand colors. Interesting. Ooh, I do like these. I do like those. I would wear them. You know, I would actually wear them. They are really cool. Actually, now I'm seeing it with a bit more context. I think it's very easy to kind of look at those colors and prejudge, but actually seeing, this is why mock-ups are so important. Actually seeing it on a pair of boxers, that is a really nice color combination. Yeah, so we've got this kind of sort of like a, I don't know what color you'd call that. It's kind of a mix of like a blue and a gray. Then you've got like a darker sort of really deep indigo, something that's pretty much black, and then whatever this color is here. You missed my comment. What was your comment? Hi, bro. Do you have any tips for coming up with fictional branding briefs? Dilshan, that's probably a good question for you, mate. If you have any tips for how you come up with these briefs, do you just make them up yourself? ChatGPT is one that comes to mind immediately. You know, you could probably use ChatGPT to ask it to write you a brief and pop that into a Word document, and then off you go from there. That would be a good one. Kai says, if the M matches the thickest parts of the other letters, maybe add a few parts of the M stroke that are tapered. Okay. I think you have Sonoma reactions enabled. Just saw a thumbs up bubble appear. A thumbs up bubble. Oh, was that what was that? Oh, was that a text or something? Why not put do not disturb on? Oh, I probably got something popping up. But yeah, really nice colors. And again, great way of presenting this information. We've got the CMYK breakdown. So yep, all good for print. And then we've got the hex value there as well. And a bit of explanation as to why these particular colors were chosen. So yeah, feels really good. Ooh, nice. Okay. So we've got horizontal. We've got a vertical treatment, which is different, not something you see every day. Yeah, again, variations, you know, that's probably something I wouldn't do personally. I wouldn't tuck it so tight in the corner, but, you know, each to their own. And then we've got the logo mark on its own as well, which I really do love. Very, very clever. Movaro men's innerwear. So again, yeah, you could do a shadow, kind of same sort of thing, I suppose. But again, we've got a mock-up here, which is really cool. I think this looks a bit different to before. The logo seems quite a lot bigger than those ones. So I don't know if there's like a different, these are different types of underwear, or if they kind of, those mock-ups should be the same. I love these. They look really cool. And then comfort in simplicity, comfort meets fashion. And actually, this entire presentation is a really good example of using white space, or I guess you could say not using it, you know, not trying to fill up so much stuff that it becomes overbearing. It's really subtle. You know, here we've clearly got this as the focal point. The watermark is there. It's not distracting us because it's so subtle. And, you know, it's just this is a really, really good use of bold and lighter fonts, and then juxtaposing those two together to highlight certain keywords. And then even this kind of detail here, right? This paragraph text underneath is nicely spaced away from the bolder titles above it. It's not too tight, not too far away. And the leading, which is the line height, the spacing between the lines, feels absolutely spot on as well. If you're adding big blocks of paragraph text, my advice would be to consider not always just using the auto value, because sometimes depending on the design it can make the text just feel a bit too packed together. What I would do is just increase it a few points just to give the lines a little bit more breathing space. That's exactly what Dilshan's done here, and it's both of these sections are consistent, and yeah, it looks really, really good, really tight. Comfort meets fashion, and we've got more. This is a very different style here. We're more on the pants side, the briefs. Again, more here with different colors. Briefs. Solid color design, printed, stylish printed design. Wow, now that's interesting. That is very, very colorful. Ooh, this is good. Nice. I mean, if you've ever seen Dilshan's work before, by the way, Dilshan is Max Art in the chat. That's his username. He always does fantastic mock-ups, and I think the gardening one is always one that comes to mind, where the mock-ups were added to like gardening tools, the logo and everything. It was honestly insane. And this is no exception. Even like down to the reflections, got the different kind of patterns and textures. Just really, really good. And actually, apart from just, you know, an overall really good mock-up and actually having the patterns on there, the packaging is really nice as well. So yeah, really, really cool. Yeah, I could see this on a rack in a store. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Dilshan's done a few of these full kind of logo design brand presentations, and they're always excellent. They really are. And it's a great example if you're ever looking to do something like this, even if it's like a fictional brief. Um, yeah. Oh yeah, such a good mock-up. Really, really good. Okay, so there's some more designs. Whoa, that was wild. More mock-ups designed by Dilshan Kanamge. I shouldn't try and pronounce names, but yeah, amazing. Thank you, Dilshan. That was absolutely amazing, and great to see. And again, look at this. Look at the confidence here with this white space. We don't need to have the text massive to fill up the space. It's just right there in the middle. Social handles down the bottom, and then just look at all this white. Have that. Beautiful. Right. Mm. And cafe. Deep says, "Hey Dansky, sorry again. I'm asking you for portfolio reviews. My goodness. I mean, I'm not averse to doing a portfolio review, but just given how long it takes me to review one design, I think a portfolio stream might take me like, I don't know, 17 hours or something to I know I do take quite a while going over some designs because I like to get very granular with everything. So I will review anything, like honestly. But yeah, it's just it's just how long it takes. Oh, you're welcome, Dilshan. Okay, this next one is from Rebecca. Rebecca is a student with the Adobe Illustrator Masterclass, which reminds me, I haven't even mentioned it yet. Oh, I forgot to plug the course. God, I'm terrible at marketing. I really am awful. So, for anyone who doesn't know, this is my Adobe Illustrator Masterclass, and it's basically my 17 years of experience working as a designer and using Illustrator condensed down into a course that I think is around about 6 hours, and it will teach you everything I know. So, I think it's probably the fastest way to learn Illustrator, and it covers everything. Like I made so many mistakes throughout my career, even for like the first 10 or 11 years. I did things the wrong way for so long, got stuck in all these bad habits, and this course will teach you everything from the ground up the right way, even if you're new to Illustrator. So yeah, if that sounds good, there's a link to that, and if you check the stream or video description, there's also a code for 15% off the course as well. Right. Okay, so where are we? So this is from Rebecca. In fact, I think I've got another one of your designs queued up as well, Rebecca. And this is a work in progress, and it's for a GameCube, which is really cool. Curve out edges, shadows, and circle memory card. Oh, okay. Is that like to-do notes? I do that all the time. I write a list of things I've got to do on the side. Okay. So this one up here, I'm guessing this is kind of in a little bit more detail here with the circles. Paul Dixon says, it looks like a GameCube. I have one behind me. That's good. It looks like a GameCube. Fantastic. That's one box ticked. Right, I'm just going to whip up a picture of a GameCube. I can kind of remember what they're like. Oh my goodness, is that like a yellowy orange one, like a mustard colored GameCube? Wow. Yeah, purple was the one I remember. Oh, they do grey ones as well. Okay, so we're going for the delicious grey. Very nice. So let's have a look. Right. Okay, I'm just looking at a picture of a GameCube. So I think it depends. When it comes to illustration, I think for me personally, it's good to have a reference image because, of course, there's many different styles of illustration. You know, are you going to go for linear, something more like an icon, black and white, color? Are you going to have it like flat, like the color on this at the moment? I know it's a work in progress, but we've got solid colors. Are you going to introduce, you know, little highlights in certain parts and then shadows in other parts? Or are you going to go for like realism and try and actually make it look realistically 3D by using gradients and things? So there's all these different things to consider, which is why when I do something like this, I find having reference images really helpful because I can just kind of find a style I like and think, okay, I'm going to do the thing and I'm going to do the lines and all the design work, but I know kind of what style I'm going for. You know, some illustrations, they don't have a border or a stroke. They're just like the solid fill will run right to the edge. And then other illustrations will have a big, thick border around all of the different elements. So there's a layer on reference photos. Oh, okay, hang on. Let me look. Ho, ho, ho. Hey, there we go. Screen. Nice. Right. Okay. Fantastic. So these are reference photos for a GameCube, which is amazing. My goodness, what is this? Was that a thing? I never owned a GameCube. I only borrowed one off a friend. Oh, fantastic. So yeah, I would have some, in addition to this, I would have some reference images surrounding the artboard you're working on with a particular style that you really, really like. That's just like a you know, an optional thing. You don't have to at all, but it's something that I find very helpful because then I know sort of what style I'm going for, and I know it. You know, that then translates to, oh, I'm going to be adding highlights, so I need to consider this. Or, you know, if I know that I'm not going to have an illustration with a stroke, I won't design it with a stroke from the start. Whereas adding it afterwards could be challenging and time consuming. I want to create the screen along with it and hopefully create a simple animation of Link and Zelda on it. Yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, the great thing about Illustrator and the Adobe Suite is that you can take a vector illustration directly into After Effects and animate it that way. That's probably the way I would do it. And yeah. So it means just kind of set it up in Illustrator and then take it straight over, and it will bring all the different layers over as well. So it kind of makes animating a bit easier. So let's have a look. So yeah, that's kind of the first thing I would say is kind of pick a style that you're going to go for. Let me just check some of these. Yeah, so this one here doesn't have a stroke. It's got a black fill. This one at the top, you might be able to see there, it's got a black stroke. So whichever way you go, I think have it consistent from the start. So let's just take the stroke off there. So you can see there the stroke's now gone. So that kind of grey, it goes flush to the edge. And then if I zoom in here, yeah, so it depends how you want to represent this. So yeah, you could do something like that, and you could keep it very, very simple, or you could do it like this, and if you wanted to make it a slightly darker shade of what it's on, which is kind of so you're sort of going more with that sort of solid style. Another great technique is to use gradients as well. So if you were going for something perhaps a bit more realistic or just very stylized, so with this one, let's grab the gradient tool. We'll grab this color. We'll add a gradient. And let's flip that the other way around. And then up here in the corner, let's add that color in. And then brighten it ever so slightly. There we go. And I can control that midpoint. And I can use this to introduce lighting. So I could kind of have that up there. And then I could add this one here and then adjust the lighting on this one as well. And this is a great way that you can use gradients on even basic shapes to then create a bit more depth as well. This is probably one of the ways I would create 3D things in Illustrator using gradients, because gradients are quite easy to control and to work with. You can use the mesh tool, but to be honest with you, the mesh tool is not the easiest tool to use. Like you can use it, and it's something that I do cover in the course in quite a lot of detail. And in the course we create like an AirPod case, so you can use it and you can create really cool, realistic looking 3D stuff. Like it's the tool you would use to create probably the most realistic stuff, but it is really difficult, especially when you're getting started with it. And once you start using the mesh tool on certain shapes, it locks you out of using certain features. Like once you commit to the mesh tool, Illustrator's like, nah, you can't do this thing over here because this is a mesh object, sorry. Whereas when you're working with gradients, it's still a shape with a gradient and you can do a lot more. And then you can still very easily kind of adjust lighting just by moving the gradient position around. So this is a great way that you can introduce a bit more realism and depth and even lighting, you know, light and shadows into a design. But yeah, of course, this is a work in progress. So my feedback would be pick a particular style that you really want to go with, like an illustrative style. And I think something like this, these two colors are so similar, they probably need a bit of contrast just to separate them. So, you know, whichever way you go with it, something like that. Because, you know, even at this sort of size that someone's going to be viewing it, it's very hard to kind of, there's a lot of detail in those plugs that you've done and it's very difficult to see them. So I would probably accentuate the contrast a bit more. And then perhaps even make these something like that. Do you see what I mean? Just so it brings out that detail and it makes it like stand out a bit more. Also, just be mindful of using strokes at a very small size, because I can see the stroke here because I'm zooming up close, but when I actually zoom out like this, it becomes very, very hard to distinguish between the fill and the stroke. So if we just grab that and we'll just give it all one solid color and just make sure there's enough contrast there. You know, that's what I would do personally, is that, you know, when the detail becomes so small that you can't really see it and or like distinguish between a stroke and a fill, you know, I'd probably go with one or the other. Otherwise, it just kind of looks like a sort of a mesh of two. Yeah, just it kind of, you know, when you zoom out so far, it'll just look like a kind of blob of different colors, if that makes sense. Oh, it's two circles grouped. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I would probably do that as a stroke. That would be like an easier way to work, I think. Just because having it as a stroke kind of gives you a bit more flexibility. If you did want to have a stroke, by the way, you know, make it intentionally thicker than you might normally make it, or perhaps even a bit larger, just so at those kind of more zoomed out distances, there is enough clarity for someone to be able to distinguish between those different elements. And yeah. Yeah, I'm not familiar with exactly how it looks, like the feet. So I guess as well, the other thing is perspective. So where are we looking at? So we're not looking at this front on, because if we were, we wouldn't be able to see the top. So we're at a slightly elevated position looking down on the GameCube, so we can see part of the top, which means that we wouldn't be able to see the feet. Now, again, I'm sure this is a work in progress, so, you know, I apologize if I'm kind of covering stuff you haven't got to yet, but I'm just kind of responding to sort of what I'm seeing. So I'll probably nudge those up as well, because we're higher up, we would be able to see less of the feet. So they would be quite tucked away, I imagine, from that particular angle. And yeah, we could even do something with this, with a gradient. Oh, I love it when I get Illustrator files, because we can have a little play. So yeah, let's... oh, no. You're not going to let me put that in there? All right, fine. Fine. We will do it this way instead. Yeah, so you can see it's really a case of just figuring out where... Oh, that's another good tip, actually. If you are going to do something like this and then try and emulate lighting and shadows, define where the light source is first. I've just assumed that it's coming from the top right. I've just made that assumption. And I'm using the eyedropper tool to just copy that gradient onto other objects. It doesn't copy the angle, though, just something to be aware of. It will only copy the gradient, so you might have to adjust the angle. But yeah, figure out what your light source is first, would be my advice, and then draw a big arrow. Not like, whoa, what's going on, Dan? Come on, you trackpad lunatic. Just so you remember where the light source is coming from, and then that will kind of guide where you put the shadows and the highlights as well. But yeah, that would be my my main thing. Just kind of, yeah, have a reference image for the style you want to go for, and yeah, just keep going. I'm not going to get too heavy into it because I know this is a work in progress, but I would love to see this when it's finished. I would really love to see that. But yeah, thank you so much, Rebecca. Also, just while we're doing reviewing some of Rebecca's work, there's actually another one here that I didn't see the name actually until earlier. Let me just open this one up. So this is actually some greeting card designs that Rebecca's produced, and I love these. So this was part of an old assignment for an introduction to graphic design. Create greeting cards. Decided to give the ones I made another try. This is one I've completed. Yeah, I absolutely love this. This is so cool. Ah, so there's the original one. I think there's probably a few missing elements, so we'll ignore the pixelation there. Yeah, these are so cool. I love this. Let's get rid of the pixelated one. I think it's like a missing link or something. And then, ooh, I don't know what font that was. Rebecca, what font was this? But it kind of, the whole thing feels very kind of hand-drawn. Very, yeah, like organic. And this is the kind of thing with illustration that there's no point critiquing like the precision of every single line, because it's just meant to feel more hand-drawn. And, you know, I think that's why this font works quite well as well, because it isn't perfectly smooth. It's quite literally rough around the edges, and it just sort of, it just fits. It really fits. I'm not sure about that yellow. That yellow is very bright. But oh yeah, no, I love this one. I love this one over here. Yeah, it's so cute. I've got loads of different leaves. Got autumn leaves falling, different size pumpkins, different color pumpkins. Each pumpkin is unique. It's even a more yellowy one back there. And it's just got so much character and personality, which is, I guess, perfect for a greetings card. Oh, okay, so there's a few different crops. We've got the kind of one where you can see the edges, and this one runs right to the edge. Yeah, that's a very good point. So Lallington says, definitely a labor of love. I lack the patience for something like this. The pumpkins remind me of the old Disney animations. Nice style. Yeah, there's something like this, I imagine, would be quite time consuming. Although I suppose once you've got a bunch of pumpkins, you could actually do quite a lot with them. Yeah, I'm not sure if you've got to the section in the course on symbols, Rebecca. But yeah, that's what I would probably do for something like this. I don't know if you did this in the past with it, but I would create a suite of pumpkins and set them up as symbols. Because if I just grab one, I'll show you. If I can grab one. Yes, there we go. I've got a pumpkin. So symbols are amazing, and they're kind of perfect for something like this. So I can open up this panel. I can save this as, we'll go pumpkin 1. That's now a symbol. And I can basically drag instances of this from the symbols panel. So I could basically add this to all these different graphics, greetings cards, and I could play with the sizes. Imagine I've done like 6 pumpkins. They're all symbols. And I could, cluster these together. Lots of lovely pumpkins. And then I suddenly think, oh, do you know what? They would look better if they were blue. Okay, I want blue pumpkins. So what I could do is go back inside the symbol. And if I can make a selection here with my silly trackpad fingers and change that to blue. Yep, blue pumpkin. That's exactly what I want. When I come back out the symbol now, all of the other pumpkins will be changed to blue. And that goes for any changes. I could change, I could clean up a curve if I wasn't happy with a line. I could do a whole bunch of different things beyond just changing the color. And all of them get updated. So I'm seeing on a lot of these, there's pumpkins that are repeated across multiple cards. And if those pumpkins were made as symbols, it gives you more flexibility over a larger project like this to be able to set things up nice and quick. And then you can actually work on refining a design later on. And all those refinements get instantly pushed out to every instance of that symbol. Oh, nice. I drew the pumpkins in Procreate and brought them in. Oh, see you later, Sema. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, the labor of love was a console piece. My bad. Yeah, so symbols. So yeah, I think, it's a case of just creating a bunch of different pumpkins, but then setting them up as symbols first. The same with the leaves as well. I don't know if they already are symbols. I don't think so. But yeah, you can then create all the elements as symbols and then just kind of put them everywhere. But it just gives you the flexibility to change them on a document-wide basis. Also, I love this. That is a beautiful pattern. That is really nice. I love the way they're kind of all offset as well. It's not like just horizontal or vertically uniform. Like kind of the illustration occupies almost like a diamond shape. And so it kind of lends itself perfectly to repeat on that diagonal angle. Yeah, really nice. That's probably my favorite bit, actually. I love, 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 love these illustrations as a pattern. That just looks amazing. It's so cool. Oh, this is great as well. Yeah. So there's like a mock-up here of the cards, and we've got that added drop shadow as well. And again, we've got the pumpkins in the background. Lovely little watermark. Oh, nice. Oh, I love that. Okay, yeah. So again, just hammering home the point about mock-ups. That is so nice. Seeing them like that with the drop shadow, excuse me, and the envelopes as well, the kind of brown envelope. Yeah, really, really nice. Yeah, really good font choices. They're both really good. I think the more I'm looking at it, actually, this font it's growing on me. I wasn't sure at first, but it actually does it does replicate a lot of the characteristics of these illustrative pumpkins, particularly these kind of top parts here. They're all kind of sort of twisted and bent and all totally random and different. And you can see some of the parts of the letters, the R, the S, and the T, they do exude those same qualities as well. So yeah, really, really good font choice. Yeah, that's oh, and of course we've got the actual design file here as well. Oh, amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for sending this one in, Rebecca. That's really cool to see. And I'm sorry I've butchered your pumpkins. We've got blue pumpkins now. That's going to be a thing. Okay, right, next up. We've got... Well, let's do the one in the thumbnail. Even though it's a PDF and I clearly can't navigate PDFs. Right, The Purist, redesign idea. The design is meant for a YouTube channel, but is not used as of now. It has been done as a draft, and especially the cutouts are a bit rough. Okay. The Purist. Is this a YouTube channel, is it? Let's have a look. Football? Oh yeah, football. And there is a ball. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Their current logo is interesting. Hang on, let me link the channel. I'm just going to leave it at that. Their current logo is interesting. And I think by comparison, initial impressions, the I mean, these are very good. I think I prefer the top two to the bottom one. If I'm being honest, I'm not a massive fan of the bottom one, at all. Actually, some of the letters look cool, like the S and the T. I'm really not a fan of. And this is a good, interesting example. Actually, hang on. Whoops, I'm zooming in the wrong thing. This is something that really is standing out to me, and it's something to watch out for. So I'm going to try and zoom in again. There we go. So you can see here that the border width around all the sides, right, is pretty consistent, isn't it? We've got the width there. We've got the space between the characters. We've got the spacing up here, spacing along the top, spacing down the right. It's perfect. It's all really, really tight. But the word "the" does not feel central. And that is because of the letter T. Because it doesn't occupy the same amount of space as the letter E on the other side. So we have this massive gap here. And because there is this container device, we're not just looking at the word "the", we're looking at the word "the" inside this container. There, like it or not, there is a relationship between these two elements, the container here and the word "the", because they're so close together. And so it makes this gap stand out. A nice little touch, having the goal kind of come up from the U. Very nice. But if you were to remove the goal, this entire, I know you kind of take away the essence of the logo, which is another problem, but you remove the problem of alignment, because there wouldn't be anything that our eye would particularly anchor to. But the fact that that's there, even though technically the spacing is perfect all the way around, because the T occupies a different amount of space to the E, this is where optical alignment comes into play. And, is there a way around this? Yes, you could perhaps make the T, the kind of arms on the T kind of come in a bit. so it occupies a similar space to the E, kind of like what is it, like a monospace font, perhaps? Or you could artificially push it to the left a bit. So technically, this part of the T would be closer, which again may or may not create another problem. But overall, it would feel more central because more of this space is occupied by the T. Does that make sense? But I know that if I did that and I moved the word "the" to the left, it might then sit and look central overall, but then I know that I would be looking at that kind of gap going, well, that's annoying. So I don't know. I guess something else that you could do is you could make the word "the" smaller, because the further you press it up against this container, the more any of these issues are going to stand out. Whereas if you made the word "the" considerably smaller, there's going to be a lot more space around the edges, and the relationship between those elements will be less kind of obvious. But then, of course, you do break the spacing there as well. So it kind of creates more problems, as you can see. So trying to solve one problem creates two more. So that aside, I don't like that one. But I do love these top two. I think if I had to pick one, I'd go with the top one. Although that would sit very nicely in a circular avatar, and this is a good kind of design trick as well. Sometimes you have to kind of run some text around a path in Illustrator, and you don't have enough words to actually go round. So what they've done here is they've made the words "the purist" quite a lot bigger. Sometimes you might see a logo repeat the name 2 or 3 times around the logo, which sometimes can work. Sometimes it can look awful. But this is another trick, is that you can just fill this with something, a design element, a kind of, in this case, a sort of curve, a semicircle, whatever, and use some kind of design element to bridge that gap. I'm just looking at the spacing. Yeah, and of course, if I do make sure that the spacing is consistent as well. But yeah, I love this top one. Let me zoom in. I'm going to go with the badge. Meg says super clean. It definitely feels football-y. Mike says, oh, hang on. Whoa, oh, I've missed a lot of comments. Oh, sorry, guys. Moosh Attack, hello. Hello, welcome back. Just goes to show that with Illustrator, you can do 90% of any design work needed. Oh, yeah, you really can. That's why I think Illustrator is the one to learn, because like Photoshop's pretty amazing as well, but Illustrator is for graphic design, icon design, brand design, packaging design, UI design, poster design, brochure design, stationery design, logo design, t-shirt design, signage design, font design. You can literally do pretty much anything. Like if I could only have one app, it would be Illustrator, because I would be able to continue existing as a professional creative. Looks like a volleyball, but maybe I'm not awesome at knowing enough football. I mean, yeah, you're right. It does look like a volleyball, actually. So maybe I've made a mistake there. I don't know. That was just a 2-second looking on YouTube, and there is a YouTube channel called The Purists about football. So yeah, their logo reminds me of like an Easter egg, or like a Yoshi egg from Mario or something. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, I love this one. Badge, really cool shape, really nice kind of shaped badge. We've got the word. Whoa, come on, Acrobat. Don't do this to me now. The word "the," yeah, it feels a bit squish. You can see we've got the same sort of issue with that gap here. The easier fix for that is to actually just increase the gap, make the gap bigger, so we're kind of, again, pushing it further away from the word, and it will become less noticeable. Why is my cursor spinning? What is happening? Yeah, this is interesting. I like the kind of the way the sort of the letters here curve round, and then that gap is a kind of cut as well. So it kind of feels like the letters have a nice continuity into the actual shape of the badge. So it feels really, really considered, and the sort of the lettering has been designed as part of the badge, which is cool. Good amount of breathing space. Nothing feels too cluttered apart from the word "the" at the top. A bit squish. But yeah, I'm not sure what font this is as well. Whether it's totally custom or existing and then modified. If I had to guess, I would say existing font that's been modified because they've added this kind of curve in the cuts here. It feels like they've tried to replicate that with the S. One's a bit thinner than the other, so I'd probably make this top one a bit wider. I don't know why my cursor is continuously spinning. I think something's happening on my computer and I don't know what it is. So we'll just have to ignore the beach ball. But yeah, there's a lot about this logo that I really do like. But anyway, that's enough about that. In fact, actually, let's do a poll. I want to see what you guys think. It's enough of what I think. Right, I got the badge, the ball. Oops, I can't type. Ooh. Kvisten, hello, is this your work? Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for submitting it and for joining. Oh, Rebecca says the script font was an Adobe font Festiva. Oh, okay. That is good to know. So, Kvisten says the idea of the pitch logo is that the P and the T represent corner circles. Okay, so is this for football or is this for volleyball? Have I made an oopsie? I just linked a random YouTube channel. Yeah, motion would be very interesting. Hey Dansky, big fan. Thank you. Thank you for joining the stream. Old school soccer logos have this volleyball style ball on them. I think back in the day, soccer balls were like this. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Paul says, I like the badge the most, but maybe the ball could be used for merch, etc. It does feel like a very kind of merchy style logo, this second one. Yeah, I know what you mean. Rebecca says, I like the badge, but I also like the ball. It's different. Meg says, I really love the badge, but the ball would fit in a circular avatar really nicely. I know it would, wouldn't it? I know it would. Yes, football. Okay, excellent. Right. I linked the channel. So a bit further back in the chat, I linked the channel. Hopefully I linked the right one. I searched on YouTube for The Purist, and then I found a channel about kind of football tactics. The logo looks like an Easter egg, like the current one. So hopefully I got the right one. Yeah, Khaled, the design reviews are typically on a Tuesday. I know, today's a Wednesday. Sometimes I have to move things around to kind of fit work and kids. But yeah, typically, design review is Tuesday. And then the design whatever really, me designing something and us just kind of hanging out is usually on a Thursday. But if that's going to change, I will usually post on YouTube in the community page somewhere. Kai says FC Barcelona and other big soccer clubs use this style ball in the logo. Oh, okay, right. So it's been around for a while then. Oh, that's all right, Dilshan. No worries, man. No worries. I was on my way home and forgot my earbuds. Had to listen through the phone speaker. Oh, the dedication. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. It is the right channel. Okay, good. Woo! This would have been a bit awkward. Just linking some random YouTube channel. Font is Statliches regular. Wow, that is that's a mouthful. Slightly modified. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say because we've got the kind of the S shape here and then the T and the S up there. Right. Interesting. I'm definitely gonna have to check that font out. Oh yeah, because on the ball one, the S is, I guess that's the standard S. This one up here has been sort of customized to fit the style. Oh, well, there's the poll. Right, okay, so we've got 64% like the badge, that's the top one. 24% like the ball, and 12 on the pitch. Okay, cool. Yeah, the pitch was definitely my least favorite. There's just a few things about it I didn't like that was standing out. But yeah, definitely one of the top two. And if I had to pick one right now, it would definitely be the badge. But anyway, let's move on. Love this color. The blue color is meant to represent knowledge and trust. The color is also a primary color, meaning that it is unaltered and pure. Ooh. Very nice. And I suppose, yeah, one consideration is how does this RGB blue translate through to print? But I guess because this is predominantly for a YouTube channel, I don't know, maybe the print side of things is a lot less important because most of what they will do is going to be online perhaps. Yeah, like when I'm doing my social graphics or I'm rebranding Dansky and going, oh yeah, let's make myself orange because I'm a ginger. I'm not really thinking about, is this color orange? Is it good for print? Because I honestly don't really ever print anything for me. I'm just, everything I do is on screen. So I love kind of playing in the RGB spectrum because you get those nice bright punchy colors like this one, which feels kind of, it reminds me of the future as well, the YouTube channel. They've got a very punchy blue. Again, just on this one as well, presentation, lots of white space, lovely, nice bit of spacing between the header and the body text. And then we've got some good spacing here as well, so the lines don't feel too tight together. Okay. All right, perfect. A mock-up. Yeah, mock-up, again, always great to do, even if it's online, even if it's not like a physical product, like a box of men's underwear, you know, doing a mock-up on mobile on a device or something is, you know, it just gives a much more truer to life representation of how things are going to look. And actually, just while I'm looking at this, were those 3 different logos like completely separate versions, or was the intention to use all 3? Oh, Space Grotesque. Very nice font. Oh, this fella, he doesn't look very happy, does he? He looks a bit sad. He looks like he's done something a bit wrong. And he kind of looks like he's going, oi, mate! What you doing, mate? Give us the ball. Yeah, it definitely stands out, doesn't it? The blue is definitely a very striking color. So we've got thumbnails. Okay. The return of Jogo Bonito. So this is good. This is different, actually, for a YouTube channel. I don't know if we've ever done this before. We do a lot of, like, these kind of logo redesigns and kind of brand redesigns and overhauls and what have you. But I don't think we've ever done one for a YouTube channel. This might be a first, actually. It was just means there's 3 different logo suggestions. I then proceeded with one for the mockups. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. I was going to say, if there's 3 separate logos all being used together, that might create a bit of a branding consistency nightmare. But yeah. Oh, I see. So you've gone with this one here, and then you've got this as can't really see it from here, but that looks to be like perhaps a web address or something. Right, so there's the outro screen. Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for your great content and tutorials. Oh, thank you. And for also taking your time reviewing people's submissions. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Kristen. I really do appreciate that. And it was nice to have a YouTube channel as well. We don't really, I'm pretty sure we've not done that before. But yeah, that's my favorite. I'm sticking with the badge. In the blue. I do love that one, which is why it ended up on the thumbnail. In fact, I'm pretty sure I put that one on the thumbnail. Yeah, I think I did. You can probably tell I loved it already when I saw it. Ha! Fantastic. Right, what do we do? Oh my goodness, it's 4:30. How is it 4:30? Where has the time gone? These streams, they go too fast. Okie dokie, we got 2 more. We got 2 more to get done here, and then we gonna wrap up. So I can go get me some dinner. That's my terrible Arthur Morgan impression. Come on, Dutch, we've got to review these designs. Ooh, this is nice. Illustrator file as well, so I can play, which is good. And what else have I got? Some mock-ups here. All right, I like this. This is good. This is going to be good. I don't have any context, though. I have no context. So what am I looking at? Help. Quanta 23 Clubs and Chapter Expo. There we go. Valor has 150 odd clubs and chapters with student boards that organize diverse events daily. What am I looking at? Someone please help. I like it. It's a great mock-up and a great logo. I just don't know what I'm looking at. And suddenly, Dan is from Texas. I mean, the fact that you even said Texas rather than, oh my goodness, what is that terrible accent you're doing? I'll take that. Thank you very much. My terrible Texas accent. Okay, right. Let's open up the Illustrator file then. The colors. Oh, right. I'm guessing this is a different colorway. So Quanta. I'm gonna have to shoot in the dark here. I like it. What I'm looking at, the kind of simplicity of this mark does it really nice in the way it kind of. I mean, it looks like it's to do with people. So it mentioned about students. This looks like it could be a person. So I feel like there is some kind of link there, but of course I don't have any context. And it does look nice as a pattern. So whatever it is, I like it. And we've got the main logo here, dark blue, kind of another bold, medium royal blue. I don't know if you call it royal blue, I'm not sure. The logo sort of falls apart a little bit when it's black and white. I don't know if that's a massive issue, because it's only that one little bit of color that's like a divider there. So yeah, I don't know if that would be a huge issue, because even if even if this was just a black and white one color print, let's go CMYK, right? We'll go with 100% black. Okay, and even if you say, oh, okay, well, I want the. Let me get the original back. I've ruined the original. There we go. Even if you said, you know, oh, okay, I want this kind of the logo mark to stand out more, what we could very easily do is just have that as a tint of black. So we could do this. We'll go 60% black. That is still a one color print. So yes, there might be instances where you need it to have, you know, solid white reversed out or solid black. But if you're having a one color print, you can still do this, and that is still a one color print. You're just using a tint, a 60% tint of black. The center line text at the bottom is not my favorite, though. Let's have a look. Oh, I see. I think you mean the sign, yeah? So let's jump in and have a look at the sign. Really good image. Like, the photo is really, really good. Assuming it is a photo. Very, very clean. Oh, yeah. I see what you mean, actually. I see what you mean. So this is good. We got this up here, VIT. I mean, I don't know if it is this what is this? Is this the like the venue or something like that? And this is the brand at 23. That's fine. I'd probably nudge. Oh, yes. I'm guessing this is the person. This is the designer. So that wouldn't be on there. Yeah, that wouldn't actually be there on this sign. I think that's just kind of the person and their username here. If it was on the sign, I'd say nudge it to the left a bit. But also, yeah, this text, unless you've gone for a stylized thing where you kind of bring it in deliberately to taper it off. But I feel like that only really works if you've got the right words. Like here, you kind of, I guess you could say you've got like a straight line. So you could sort of make that argument, but then the first line pushes out quite a lot more. So I don't know. I would probably say have that, if you're going to centrally align it, have it over 2-3 lines at most. 4 lines is a bit much. I would also probably bring the size of the logo maybe down a pinch, but if you didn't want to, I'd understand. But bring this text here, Quanta 23 Clubs and Chapter Expo, bring that up. Because at the moment, it just feels too small and it's kind of, everything's quite tightly packed together. Like here as well. You know, personally, I would spread that text over 2 lines, maybe 3, and I would just increase the leading, the line spacing, just a little bit. And in fact, all of this spacing as well. You know, just space the logo and this title here. Space all these elements a little bit further apart, because you could easily kind of push up into a bit more space, and then you could easily kind of go down. So we're not struggling for space with this one. And I think just a little bit of breathing space here and here would really help. And then obviously make this text bigger. This is me trying to type and draw with a trackpad. Bigger. Excellent. Right, good job, Dan. Yeah, that's what I would do with that mock-up. What else have we got? Oh, that is the graphic. Okay. Minus the text, of course. And then there's another one. This is a brightly colored version. I'm not sure why. I'd probably personally go with one or the other, unless there was a specific reason why. But again, same sort of feedback. Really nice use of the pattern. Really nice. We've seen a few of these today. We've got that watermark, that kind of the logo mark being used as a watermark, faded very subtly. It just looks more interesting than just plain white. But it's not really so pronounced that it actually distracts you. That's like the mistake you want to avoid. You don't want it to be really pronounced. And again, this is a really good mock-up, because I don't know where this person got this mock-up from, but it's like a really perfectly kind of, what's the word? Is it taut? Kind of how tight it is. The sign is kind of pulled out perfectly. All that spacing around the edge is pretty perfect. And then we've got a bright yellow stand. which not only complements the beautiful grey background, but it also complements the blues from the logo itself. So the yellow, blue, and grey thing that's going on just looks really, really nice. Yeah, really good choice for the well, really good mock-up and really good choice for that color stand as well. Is that Quanta, Quanita, or Quanvita? This is so confusing. I mean, I read it as Quanta. The reason I read it as Quanta from the off is just because the lines are all connected. But yeah, it's interesting that you say that, and it's funny because people see things totally differently. There's been times before where everyone's kind of pointed something out, and I just completely missed it. If there was a gap between these two colors on the N, it would literally, it would send me into a meltdown. I wouldn't be able to cope. I wouldn't know what to do. But yeah, I think because it's all kind of part of the same letter, I think I just assumed that yeah, it's the word quanta. And it helps that it's written here as well. I know you're not always going to have that context, but in this example, it does have the word quanta written. I think that is VIT in the middle of the logo. It might be a parent company or something that this brand belongs to. Yeah, good point. VIT is mentioned in that sign too. VIT Velour, yeah. Yeah, I know, I've got no context. So if you are submitting work at some point, then just remember to add a bit of context, just so I kind of know what I'm looking at. It just makes my feedback be more than guessing. Yeah, I think that's really nice. And I mean, I'm not going to get too into it because I don't have any more context. I'd love to understand a bit more about this and specifically why this part of the logo was pulled out. I like it visually, but I don't fully understand what I'm looking at. So kind of what I'm kind of critiquing is probably more based on the shapes of the letter forms and what I'm seeing, rather than actually does this do the job and fulfill a particular brief. Does that make sense? That's why the context is really helpful. But last one, educare. Right, we're going to do one more, and then I'm going to have to shoot off because I've got to go and get my son soon from football, funnily enough. But yeah, if anyone does have any questions, then honestly, fire away and I'll try and be as helpful as possible. Also, for anyone who's just joined, here's a link to my Adobe Illustrator masterclass, which will teach you everything I know about Illustrator that I've learned in the last 17 years. And there's a new feature as well, actually. Like with the course, you get access to a community and you can send me direct messages. If you ever want this kind of feedback, just at any point in the week, you can just message me your design directly on the community and I'll be able to give you private feedback. So if you like these design reviews and you want to learn Illustrator, it's definitely worth checking out because it will teach you everything I've learned in the last, well, 17 years. What's that? Nearly 2 decades in about 6 hours. So yeah, if I do say so myself, it's a pretty good offering, just learning everything I've learned. But yeah, what I was going to say is the community's also got a feature that I started using recently that I didn't know it had, where there's a live room, which is basically like a persistent Zoom call that is always live, just all the time. It's like an online room, so anyone can join that at any point. So if anyone from the course is watching this and they missed the announcement, you know, if you want to jump on and have a question or you just want to say hi, just give me a shout, because I would happily jump on and just sort of face to face say hello. And it's always nice to kind of catch up with people face to face as well. But yeah, it's a pretty cool feature, actually. I definitely am looking forward to checking that out. James says, hey Dansky, I have a question. Is there a way for you to be able to edit a text, i.e. change the text after creating an outline? Yes, there is in the latest version of Illustrator. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so I've outlined the text. There is no going back, or there wasn't until the recent update, where I can go to retype. It will process my selection. Stay with us while we generate desirable results. Nice. Don't worry, Adobe. I'm not going to abandon you. As long as you give me a good suggestion. There we go. It's found it. Now, obviously, I'm using a default font. Sometimes it won't find it, but it will find a very close match. Sometimes it will find the exact font. And if it is an Adobe font, you can just activate it directly from here, and which is very useful. It will load the font in, and then you can double click to apply the selected font. So it's found Myriad Pro. Let's double click, exit, and it's now editable. And if it's part of an image, what this kind of AI, I think it's an AI driven feature, what this will do is it will try to remove the old font from the image and then add in the new font. Sometimes it works flawlessly, other times it doesn't always work. But even if it doesn't work and you end up with some weird AI smudge that hasn't worked, it's a separate image to the now editable font. So you just, if the AI bit doesn't work and it doesn't generate like a smooth kind of background, just get rid of it and you'll still have an editable font there regardless. So yeah, very useful feature, and hopefully that's helpful. I am as old as your experience. Wow. Oh, so you're 17. Ha. Oh, you young'un. Oh, wish I was 17 again. What am I, 37? Oh, I think I could barely even remember my own age. It's getting that bad now. Okay, right. Anyway. Aging woes aside, let's go and have a look. Educare. Right. Okay, I have some things to say. So, personally, I'm not a massive fan of white strokes around text. If you've followed these streams for a while, you know this already. I think a few of us were on the same page here, right? With the whole white strokes on text thing. No. Now, in this example, the stroke is, and this kind of relates to what I was saying about Rebecca's GameCube as well. The stroke is so subtle that when you actually zoom out to the distance it would be viewed at, you can't really see it. And what it does is that stroke is so thin, it actually looks like it doesn't look like an intentional outline. It just makes everything kind of have less clarity. So first off, I'm just going to get rid of that. Get rid of that, and everything's a bit cleaner. Now, the hand graphic, I think probably needs work. I think it's a bit too angular and it probably needs to have a bit more flow to it, a bit more of like a nice organic shape. I can kind of visualize what I mean by that, but I don't know if I would be able to just draw it off the top of my head. I'd probably need a reference image of a hand illustration. I mean, you saw how long it took me to draw a dove wing for crying out loud. It took a while, and but something that would be like, just imagine this is a hand, right? Something, that's obviously not a hand, but just imagine it is a hand, but it's in that kind of flowing sort of style. That's kind of what I mean. Or just use that. Yeah. Why not? Whatever. So just, yeah, the hand, but in a more kind of nice flowing style, rather than something that's just a bit too angular, and just, it could do a better job of looking like a hand. I suppose what you could do is you could round this off. Let's try and, maybe we could smooth tool this away. Yeah, so even just doing this, actually, just making those corners a bit smoother, like immediately, it seems more like caring. It doesn't seem so like intimidating. It's like when you use like a really bold typeface for something, like big bold caps. It can look quite shouty sometimes, and or if it's like got squared edges, it can look quite aggressive or a bit corporate. And these kinds of characteristics, in the same way that they kind of apply to typography, they also apply to logos, shapes, illustrations, that kind of stuff as well. So obviously this still doesn't quite look like a hand, I don't think. I think that probably needs a lot of refinement. But you can see just by adding some curves in there, it's starting to look, I don't know, I don't want to say less intimidating. Like, I'm not intimidated by the logo, but do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Dilshan says, no wide strokes. Dan wears the t-shirt. Right, that is a good point. That is a good point. Dansky, I know you don't need it, but have you ever been tempted to get the official Adobe certification, or is that not a thing anymore? I don't know. I don't know if it is a thing or not. It's not something I've really thought about. I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm self-certified now. I certify myself as an authority on Adobe's tools and apps. Yeah, it's not something I've thought of, not for any particular reason. I'm sure it's very helpful for some people to kind of say, like, hey, I'm an Adobe certified instructor, because, you know, then you've kind of demonstrated that you've met a certain criteria. But you know, then again, I never went to university. I did 2 years at college, and I got like the highest marks possible, and then went straight into the industry as a designer. I got my first job, very fortunately. And yeah, so I've never personally put a lot of stock in qualifications. I think someone being able to demonstrate their ability creatively, but also their character. Do they work well as a team? Do they interview well? Are they confident? There's all these different things that I would look at to get the measure of a creative professional, and technical qualifications would be a lot further down that list. So I think that's probably why I've just never really considered it. Is, you know, for me personally, technical qualifications don't mean an awful lot. But of course, that's just my opinion as a designer in the UK. There's obviously going to be companies and, you know, people and companies in other parts of the world that they're looking for those qualifications. So, but yeah, at least it's, you know, a different perspective that, you know, not everyone has or needs a qualification to get somewhere in life. So may try that smooth slider on this graphic. Yes, Dilshan, you legend. That is a good idea. Yes, the new smooth feature. Oh dear. That's definitely not a hand. Looks like a lily pad from a pond. Whoa, oh, I love this feature. This feature is sometimes it's really useful. It's a very specific sort of, oh, even that is an improvement. Like I would personally, I would spend a long time trying to get that hand shape right. That is an improvement, and that was just really quick to do. But I'm going to get rid of that because what's this called? The university hat thing that people wear and they chuck up in the air. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, we don't need both of these. So I spent all that time kind of talking about the hand, but actually it's too much. We need to kind of focus on one element. If you want to visually represent education or caring or something, I think we need to focus on one. I mean, what you could do, and yeah, as someone just said, the word "the" as well. Like, the color contrast here isn't enough. At a small size, that becomes pretty much invisible. And the arc doesn't really kind of, it distorts the letters quite a lot, but it doesn't really fit within this space either, the diamond. So the Educare. I mean, I'm going to change the brand name. We're going to get rid of that and call it Educare, which I think personally sounds better. I don't know if you can do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. So what we could do is we could try and create a graphic that is a combination of the hand and the... Has anyone got the name of the funny hat thing? Oh yeah, Scott says, why the word the? Yeah. Well said, sir. You don't need a piece of paper. Nice. On the cap, would it be better for me... on the cap, would it be better for it to be an arc for the cap part and leave the mortise square? Is that what it's called? A mortise? A graduation hat? The bottom bit should probably be smaller, like they are in real mortarboards. What's a mortarboard and a mortise hat? Sorry, guys, you're going to have to educate me here. Non-uni guy. So I think actually these could work together very well. Again, these sorts of details, it's very small. So if you're going to have that, it would need to be chunked up. So if I were to do something like this, again, this comes down to technical execution. So you see here, these 2 points don't even line up. They should line up. So if I were to do this properly, what I would do is get a square, rotate 45, select both of these anchor points and scale it down. Could keep it square, could round them off. Depends on the logo style. We'll do both. Just see how they look. Let's get rid of that stroke for a start. And you can see these have been rounded differently. So I am going to actually manually do these and round them by eye so they're consistent. So when you've got different shapes that you create, never blindly round everything, because not all radiuses or radii, however the heck you say it, are created equally. Some of them are, they will behave and round off differently. So I've had to do that manually to get them kind of looking a bit more balanced. But anyway, what else have we got? How else are we going to create that one? So what I'll do is select this line here with the direct selection tool, copy and paste. So now I've got the geometry, duplicate this up, and then connect these sides together. Now the reason I duplicated that single piece there of path is because now the angle is perfect and it matches. Whereas if I got the pen tool and tried doing all this, you know, I'm probably going to get the angle wrong. So using the right tools is incredibly important, because if you have the right tool and the right process for the right thing, you will kind of almost automatically make the chance of your result being much better a lot higher. A lot of times with the technical execution, I could see people have used the wrong tool to do something. So they might have used the pen tool, for example, rather than using just a combination of basic shapes. So let's move this down. Again, I can round these off, but as you can see, they all round off very differently. So let's do these manually. Try and get them looking balanced. Copy that, flip it over, line it up. And they probably need to meet, actually, so let's go do that. Right, flip into outline mode so I can actually make sure I lengthen this and try to keep everything lined up. There we go, perfecto. Don't know what accent that was. Probably wasn't an accent. Do apologize. Right. Oh, I need to go and get my kid soon. Right, now we'll shape builder tool these together. Pa-ching, gone, pa-ching, joined. And then we've got to try and match that angle there. So we're going to do that. Now this is a tricky one, because I kind of want to keep this width running through here consistent as you kind of go through there. Whereas if I try and match the curve to the ones on the sides, oops, that's the wrong one. This one here. You can see this kind of sort of area flowing through doesn't feel a consistent width now. So that's an instance where I probably would kind of have a slightly different consistency. You can see it a bit better there. You see the width flows consistently through. And, you know, I think you can probably see the difference. You can see where this is going. And it's just, a lot of it comes from experience, but a lot of it, honestly, is just about using the right tools for the right job. So, you know, one more shameless plug for the course, because this is one thing I teach in the course, is learning how to use all of the different tools. There's something like over 70 tools, and the course teaches pretty much all of them. And once you know the right tool for the right job, it makes creating things like this just so much easier, rather than kind of doing it manually. Because when you do things manually, or you use the wrong tool for something, you're almost stacking the deck against yourself before you've even started. Like if I tried to do this with the pen tool, there's never going to be a good outcome there, because the curves are always never going to be as good as they could be if I hadn't just rounded them off like I've done. But yeah. The graduate hat, also known as an academic cap, graduate cap, mortarboard, or trencher. Oh, right. So mortarboard is the hat. The board should overhang the cap part. They shouldn't be the same size. Like this one here. Ah, oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Perfect. Very nice. Come on, Dan. Let's not forget our reflect tool here. Mr. Perfect. Ah, oh, you saw me. I got caught. Oh, no. Busted. Well and truly. For anyone who's wondering what just happened, Kai basically caught me not using the reflect tool. Bad Dan. Bad designer. Reflect tool is O on the keyboard. That is the shortcut. You'll find it up here. And it's a very good way to quite simply reflect something if you need to kind of mirror something. I do it the silly way, where I just kind of either, well, I think I did it then, didn't I? Alter option and drag out and then flip. But Kai's watching me. Kai tells me off when I do that now. What's the saying? Old habits die hard, something like that. But yeah, anyway, whatever this little kind of tassely bit is, it depends how you want to represent that as well. You know, you could go into the sort of granular detail of this little kind of bobbly bit, and then the whatever it is, the tassel, the string, or you could just have it symbolically represented, which is probably what I would do for my sort of personal style. Something like that, you know. And then you could still add the hand. You could do the hand thing and kind of fit this all together, or you could perhaps add something along the top instead, or you could add the hand or something showing caring on this big flat surface here that we've got. So you could do that in white. So let's imagine we've got a really nice caring design here, and then you have that in white. That looks like a like a tooth, or a baby two-legged dinosaur that needs more of a head. There we go. Nice. Oh, that's cute. Can I draw a... No, that's not going to work, is it? It's going to give him a little eye. Yeah, you definitely got distracted now, Dan. Oh, there we go. Education. Right, anyway, what was I doing? Come on, you clown. Right. So with this one, we've got this cap. Do I line that up to the right edge? It needs to kind of follow through with this. So what I might do is... Oh, it's not going to let me change that angle now, is it? No, it's not. Okay. Let's figure out a way around this. Right, got one. Okay, so... And this is what happens a lot when using Illustrator. You will come up against these freak problems, and it does become a big problem-solving exercise. So the more you know the tools, the more you can go, aha, I know, I need to do this. I will do this, or use this tool. So I'm going to extend this beyond. Oh, it's snapping to something there that is... Whoa! Snap to pixel. What are you doing turned on? You should not be turned on. Yeah, so there we go. We're snapping those lines. And again, I can just shape builder tool that away. So I have a nice square point. Because I couldn't round it because I'd combined two shapes. So it kind of stopped me from rounding it off. This one here, I'm going to drag that all the way up. I'm going to copy this one line, this piece of path with the direct selection tool. Paste it in place. And then again, I'm going to hop into outline mode and extend this piece of path. Like so. So now I've got this path here at the exact perfect angle. We're not doing this by eye or anything like that. We're not trying to pen tool this. And now I can simply shape builder tool all of this away, merge that together. Nope. Trim that off. There we go. And I've now got that tassely dangly bit at the end that follows exactly the same angle as this other bit over here. And then, yes, I can de-round that off. So I don't know, maybe with the style of this, was it mortarboard? Whatever it is. Maybe that should be more square. Maybe the whole thing should be more square. These are all kind of a bunch of different considerations. Maybe I should oversize that and then just bring, actually no, the width there's pretty decent. The width there's pretty decent. So whole bunch of different things to consider, but yeah, I mean that is just that's not necessarily a logo, that is just a graduation cap. But I really wanted, I think the technical execution here is definitely something that held it back. So I really wanted to kind of take the time to show you how I would go about creating something like that and the importance of using the right tool for the right job. Busted, lol. Dino nuggies, indeed. So yeah, this is something that, you know, we could play around a lot more with. We haven't even got to the typeface yet. Impact, nope. We would definitely need to pick another typeface. Oh, I mean, I could spend ages looking at typefaces, but I mean, I could just pick. Let's just pick Bebas Kai. There we go. In honor of you, Kai, you have your own typeface. There we go. Educare. And then, you know, obviously it's about considering how to kind of integrate this into the lettering as well. You know, we could kind of, you could have that somehow tilted on the corner of a letter, or so it's kind of resting on the letter's head, so to speak. On the C, that could be your student, for example. And I could add a white stroke just to this bottom part and make sure I add it on the outside, because if I don't add it on the outside, it's going to cut into the design, which will mess up my spacing. So if I add this on the outside, you can see I can do something like this. You know, and I'm literally making this up off the top of my head. So, you know, take this with a massive dose of salt. All the salt in the world. But yeah, I'm just sort of demonstrating how you could kind of sit this on a letter, or you could kind of pop it at an angle. Then obviously you need to you need to correct the position of this because, you know, gravity. looks a bit wonky. I'm getting kind of drunk student vibes. Yeah, so there's so much we could do with this, and I could spend all day doing that, but I'm not going to. That could be a student, says Zach. I know, indeed. That's probably one of the most suitable letters for all of them, and because it's kind of symmetrical, yeah, maybe it could work. There's a nice balance there, but and if you could get that to work, actually, you could kind of separate that out as a mark that could then be used to create a kind of horizontal pattern, possibly. Do you know what I mean? Like you could create a pattern with lots of different colored mortarboards, maybe, or we could give the text a different color. There you go. You see blue, very corporate, very serious, educational. Blue. There we go. Yeah, I mean, nah, that's a terrible color choice, but you get the idea. Let's make it a bright color. There we go. Much more interesting. Much more creative. A green. There we go. Ugh, yuck. Anyway, I'm just clowning around. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go now because I've got you know, kids and stuff. Thank you so much to everyone for joining the stream. My goodness, 2 hours. That went fast. Yeah, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. I will need to check. The Dansky Live will either be tomorrow or Friday. Oh, Poppy told me something's happening, but I can't remember if it's tomorrow or Friday. So I will need to check. Oh, but yeah, thank you so much for joining. I've had a ton of fun, as you can probably tell. I hope you've enjoyed it too. And PNG is better quality and retains transparency. It all depends on what you're saving it for. Yeah, PNG is pretty high quality as far as raster graphics go, and it does retain transparency, which is always helpful. JPEGs, get that white box. Moosh Attack, bye. Yeah, thanks guys. Thank you to everyone for submitting work. Like I say, it's been a pleasure as always, and I will catch you in the next one. See you later.